Okay, welcome back everyone, and welcome back to MHow9's Fish Tanks. Today we're going to take a look at this right here, the Ziss Bubble Bio Fluidized Bed Filter. So I purchased this from the Aquarium Co-op, and I think this has a lot of potential for some things that we can do, both freshwater and saltwater, that are pretty cool. So this retails for about 30 bucks online from the Aquarium Co-op. I'll put a link in the description for that. And we'll go ahead here and let's get this out of the box. So coming out of the box, we have the suction cups. We have the piece of airline tubing. So here's the piece of airline tubing. And then coming out of the box itself is the actual product itself. If you can see here, this looks like basically a spray paint can. It's a little bit bigger. I would say it's like the size of the large grate foam can that you would buy at Home Depot. So it's got some biological media in here, and also has it's basically an air-driven device, and then it suction cups basically to the side of your tank. So one thing I want to cover real quick too is how do you set one of these things up? Or sorry, open your suction cups, and then you want to put these in here like so, just how you would normally attach suction cups. I've already set up one downstairs running as normal. So that is, so put the suction cups on. This airline goes up to the top here, like so. Like that. And finally they provide you with a pretty nice looking air valve. So put the air valve on like this, and then you would just hook it up to your air supply, and you should be good to go. I have this one running in my 90-gallon discus tank. As you can see, the media has been spinning flawlessly in here. It's running really well. So I really don't have any complaints about the filter itself in its normal state. But so this is what it looks like when it is running its normal operation with the biomedia inside of it. So let's go ahead, and I actually want to take this one apart, and I have some ideas for this. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So first of all, to take this apart, you need to unscrew the sponge that's right here. There's a sponge inside here, and then on the bottom you cannot access the biomedia itself, or the media itself. So now we have to get the top off. So let's go ahead and work on getting the top off. All right, so we did get the top off. The top is actually fairly difficult to get off. It's got kind of a special like seal, and I did spill a bunch of biomedia on the floor. And the idea that I have for this is to actually, you can put things in it. So this is carbon. You can put carbon in this, or you can go ahead and put GFO in this, which is basically used for phosphate control for saltwater tanks. Okay, so I have some filter floss here, and I'm going to add that to the top of this. So I've added some to the top, and it'll be better once I get it put back together. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to try the carbon first. So I'm going to put the sponge back on. Add the carbon. And now I'm going to add the filter floss to the top here, like this. Now we're going to get this back on. So we're going to put the lid back on this, pop the lid back on, and we'll go try this out and see if it works. All right, we are now back at the at this first attempt at the filter, and it works, but I don't really like it. It sort of just bubbles in there. There's a pretty big gap between the filter floss and the water, so I kind of don't like this one. I don't think this one's really picking up a lot of water and circulating it through here. So we're going to go ahead and try a different option with a filter bag. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get this off, and we'll go ahead and explore option number 2. One other thing I'd like to explore in the air-driven option for this filter is using something like these Dr. Tim's BioPearls. So making this into a little saltwater bioreactor. So let me go ahead here, and I'll add the biomedia in there. I don't really need to add anything for this. On the top, these are big enough that they won't go through the holes. So let me add some of this And we'll go ahead and just dump this in. So just dump this in right here. So I filled it maybe a quarter of the way or so. So we'll go downstairs and see how this works. All right, here's the Dr. Tim's Biomedia in the Ziss filter. It's spinning pretty well in here. So I think this is a really good option for using this filter is for the bioreactor. So this is actually what I'm going to leave running in here. Test here is we have the same carbon we've been using, the bulk reef supply carbon, and we're going to put this in the filter bag, and I bet you this runs a lot better. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, so now we have the filter bag. We're going to take the filter bag and get it into our filter, like so. You can see here we're just shoving that in there. So we now have that in. Let's go ahead here. Got it back on. And we'll go ahead and set this up downstairs again in the same tank, and we'll see what happens. The output of this now is a lot better with the carbon in here in the bag. So when I take this apart, I won't have carbon everywhere. There are a couple of loose pieces floating through here, but in general, this is doing a lot better. So I like the performance here a lot better of this. So the final thing I want to test on this filter is if you can water drive it. So instead of driving it with air, I want to drive it with water and see if you can drive it with water. So what I have here is a little pump. So that's what I have laying around. On this pump, there's a threaded T-fitting on here, so you can adjust the flow with it, and there's actually an adjustment on that too on the front. So what we're going to do for this is we have what this here has like a 1/4 inch fitting. So what this is, we'll go up close to the camera, is it's threaded on the bottom, and on the top it has the, we'll call it the John Guest fitting, where you can just push the cable in. And then also I have basically it's a piece of 1/4 inch hose, and we're going to see if we can run this filter with water with the 1/4 inch hose. So let's go ahead here and check that out. And the reason I would want to water drive it instead of air drive it is a lot of people in the reefing community don't want the bubbles. So if you can run it without having the bubbles, that would be a very good thing for the saltwater side, especially if you have a reef tank. So we're just going to screw this in. So I've screwed the little fitting in here, and this is just a push fitting, so you just push it in. So you would just push your fitting at your hose in here to connect it. And to test it, I have our little air line here. So if you can just connect it right through there. It's a snug fit, but it does connect through there. So here we go. So this is our little, I guess we'll call it a contraption. We see if we can run this filter with water. So we'll go downstairs and we'll test this out as well. All right, so we have this running, and I don't see it doing really a whole lot with the water-driven method. I can't really tell if anything's really coming in or out of it. So, I mean, there is water coming to it. So let me pull this off. And see, there is water coming out. So there's water going through it, but if you put it in here, there's really nothing that's happening with this. So I think the water actually might be going out of the bottom. So I'm going to set up another experiment here. All right, so we're going to run another little test here. So just like I thought, it was coming out of the bottom. So as you see here, let's see if maybe flipping it over. So let me try one other thing. See it? See if we can get it to fill up somehow. So yeah, so this current configuration is not really conducive to making this like a water-driven reactor. You have to modify this bottom somehow to get that to work. So I'm getting it to fill up a little bit, just playing with covering the bottom. So I would say maybe put, I don't know. So you'd have to change the design of this somehow in order to make it really a water driven. I mean, turning it upside down does kind of work. So if you have it turned upside down, you can see the water's coming out of it. But reality, I think this is really designed to be an air driven option. So I'll have to play some more in the future and see what I can come up with for water driven. But somehow I think you'd have to block these holes up and get it to come up and the water to flow up instead of down. So that's kind of answers the water driven question at the moment. Well, that concludes today's video on our attempt to unleash the Ziss biofilter. There are definitely some things you can do with this. I thought the Bioreactor for saltwater is a really good option for this. There are some things that you can do carbon and GFO wise too, using the air driven method for it. While not ideal, it would work for that. So I really think there's some opportunity to get it water driven, maybe somehow finding a way to plug the holes on the bottom of it. But I do think this is a really good product. And I also think it's a good complementary filter for your tank. So if you have like a 55 gallon, I would maybe run that with an AquaClear 70 and you'd have a really good filtration system in my opinion. So if you enjoy content like this, please like, subscribe, and share. And smash the notification bell like they all say. And as always, I appreciate your time and thank you for watching.